Ever feel like you're born on the wrong side of the tracks? Now imagine those tracks are guarded by magic users and you. You're fresh out of sorcery. That's Prince Dominic's life, and trust me, it's about to get messy. Today we're diving into One of Us Did It, a fantasy novel excerpt where courtly intrigue meets a murder mystery, and the stakes are higher than a dragon's hoard.
What's captivating here is how this excerpt isn't just about who done it, but who benefits from the it.
Right.
We're immediately thrust into a world split down the middle. The saints, blessed with magic, and the non-saints, like Dominic, living under their thumb.
Yeah, talk about social commentary with a side of stabbing. So picture this. It's the king's birthday, already a tense affair, and our boy Dominic gets into it with another student, Edward, who just happens to be the son of the prime minister and a saint.
And not just any saint.
Right.
Edward embodies the privileged class, the kind who see non-saints as barely worth the dirt under their polished boots. The excerpt makes it clear. If Dominic had retaliated, even in self-defense, and killed Edward,
Yeah.
he'd be condemned.
Oh, totally. But instead, it's Edward who ends up dead.
Hmm.
Dominic, bruised but very much alive, goes looking for his sister, Dominica. And that's where he walks into a scene straight out of a nightmare.
It's a locked classroom. And inside are Dominica, 3 other students, and Edward's body riddled with stab wounds.
Wow.
Now you've got to wonder, what kind of party turns into this?
Right. Okay, so the other students, we've got Derek, described as having this intense, righteous nature.
And that's where it gets interesting. In this world, righteousness could mean anything from upholding the law to a fanatical belief in saintly superiority. Is Derek someone who'd dish out his own twisted version of justice?
Oof, good point. Then there's Elspeth and Curtis, a couple. Now you know what they say about those who seem innocent.
Precisely. They could be masterminding this whole thing from the shadows.
Yeah.
But let's not forget Dominica.
Right.
She confesses to Dominic in tears, claiming she killed Edward. An accident, she says.
An accident involving what, like 7 daggers? Yeah, doesn't quite add up. But here's where Dominic's non-saint status becomes terrifying.
Absolutely. The excerpt chills you to the bone when Dominic realizes that with Edward dead, he's the perfect scapegoat. No trial, no investigation, just immediate assumption of guilt. The inquisitors, the enforcers of this world, wouldn't think twice.
It's like the excerpt is holding up a mirror to prejudice, you
Yeah.
know? Just because Dominic's a non-saint, suddenly he's the one everyone would believe did it.
Exactly. And that fear, that ingrained injustice, fuels his next decision.
Yeah.
He decides to cover up the murder.
Right.
Now, is it purely out of love for Dominica, or is there a hefty dose of self-preservation mixed in?
Right. It's a twisted sort of family reunion they've got going on, but a body's got to go somewhere, and the excerpt lays out their options.
Right.
Fire, water, and the forbidden forest. Talk about a rock, a hard place, and a very creepy forest.
Each choice is like a riddle with a deadly consequence.
Right.
Fire's too risky water would contaminate their only source. That leaves the forbidden forest, the place that seems to whisper trouble on every page.
And knowing this author, it's probably whispering about man-eating squirrels or something. But back to Dominic. He's adamant that the forest will take care of things. Is he thinking wild animals? Decomposition? Some weird magic we don't know about yet.
And here's the genius part. Dominic, usually powerless because of his non-saint status, uses the forest to seize control. He basically tells the others he's got dirt on all of them, ensuring their cooperation.
Talk about desperate times, calling for desperate measures. He goes from 0 to Machiavelli in like 5 minutes. It's actually kind of impressive.
It's a brilliant study in how circumstances can change someone. Dominic, thrust into this leadership role by murder and a looming threat, suddenly finds his voice, albeit a very manipulative one.
You know what this reminds me of? That classic trope where the meekest character snaps and becomes the mastermind. But here there's no snapping, just this calculated awareness of how to survive.
And that's where the real psychological thriller aspect kicks in. It's not just about who killed Edward anymore, but how this shared secret, this pact of silence, will warp the group.
It's like they're bound together by this horrible secret, like a dark parody of friendship forged in blood and fear. Makes you wonder, does knowing about a crime make you guilty, even if you didn't, like, swing the dagger?
That's the question gnawing at the edges of this excerpt, isn't it? As they prepare to dispose of the body, you realize this isn't the end of their problems. It's the start of a whole new nightmare. The constant fear, the looking over their shoulders,
Yeah.
that's going to leave its mark.
And let's not forget that title looming over everything. One of us did it. It's like a whispered accusation, right?
Definitely.
If Dominica really is the killer, how long before suspicion eats away at their group? Will they protect her, or will they turn on each other?
It's fascinating to consider, especially Dominic's arc. He's gone from outcast prince to protector, willing to shoulder this burden for his sister. But what if that burden becomes too heavy? Can he maintain control, or will the pressure crack him?
So many possibilities, and the excerpt leaves us hanging right on the precipice. We've got
Mm.
magic, murder, a cover-up, and enough family drama to fuel a whole other novel.
It's a pertinent reminder that even in a world of fantasy, it's the human heart, capable of both great love and chilling darkness, that drives the most compelling stories.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So there you have it, our deep dive into One of Us Did It. We've got a tangled web of suspects, a society on the brink, and a whole lot of unanswered questions. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you think Dominica is telling the truth? Who do you suspect, and what's going to happen next? Let us know your theories. We might just feature them in a future episode. Until then, happy sleuthing.